event, I would like to request that participants select their language channel as we will be broadcasting this event in both English and Chinese. I would like to welcome one and all from across the world that have joined us for this prestigious event that will explore the rising influence of China and its implications for the global economy. I am Arshad Abba, and together with my colleagues from Quantum Logik Consulting and the Boston Pledge, we will facilitate this event. On behalf of Quantum Logik Consulting, I would like to thank the Boston Pledge, who have entrusted us with hosting this event. I will now call upon my colleague and fellow partner at Quantum Logik Consulting, Vincent Zhang, to start this session and discuss China's 5-year plan. Over to you, Vincent.
Thank you, Arshad. Just project it here. Thanks, Arshad. It's my honor to get invited by Dr. Ghosh and to give this opening speech at the anniversary event of Boston Pledge. In the past few years, China has become one of the most popular topic in the world press, and often with a very controversial tone. I've been working with Chinese companies and Chinese government on their strategic plan and found that 5-year plan and often not well known in the company's executives circle in the US or Europe. In today's speech, I would like to share 3 aspects of the 5-year plan. First, I want to talk about the history of the 5-year plan and why that's important to the Chinese economy and social development. Also, I want to talk about the context, the objectives, and also key principles, and to discover what will China do in the next 5 years. Lastly, I would like to share our QLC's perspective on opportunities and challenges ahead during the next 5 years. China has started the 5-year plan in the early 50s. It's evolved every year as to reflect the social and economic development and the goal and during the time. So this actually guides China's course based on the set of goals it's most important to China and to China and also to its people. We reviewed the last 5-year plan basically from 2016 to 2020, and we see that most of those goals has been met. So we see the 5-year plan as really a KPI for the Chinese government, as well as for the Chinese state-owned enterprises. So they have to meet those goals. So those are not like very vague goals. They are very specific. They need to work, the whole nation need to work together to meet it. So what's special about this 5-year plan? Actually, earlier this month, the Chinese, what we call 两会, basic 2 sessions, it's like the Chinese People's Congress. They just passed 14th 5-year plan. Basically, it's from this year to 2025. On the 14th 5-year plan, this plan is going to address some domestic and international challenges and uncertainties. As you might aware, the global pandemic, deglobalization, also value chain reform, as well as the balance between China's East Coast as well as inland development. So there are a lot of things under consideration when they set up the 14th 5-year plan this time. So there are 4 main aspects in this 5-year plan. I'm not going to talk very deep into that, but I think the most important thing we found out is during this year's economic 5-year plan, that they are not going to have a specified number for the GDP growth. did not happen in the past 30 years. It's only states need to keep a reasonable level. Our interpretation for that is China's GDP is not going to grow as fast as previous years, but one of the key words we found again and again during this year's plan is they want to do it in quality, not quantity. What does that mean is previously China do a lot of export, do a lot of low-end manufacturing, but now what they want to do is what they want to do a lot of innovation. They're going to spend trillions in innovation budgets. Also, they want to improve social security for people. They want to increase basic pensions. Also, more importantly, environment. In China, they have a saying basically, it doesn't matter how much money you earn, it's about the green mountain and clear water that will sustain the development of the nation. So we found out three most relevant key principles in this 5 years plan. One is innovation driven. As you may, a lot of us may be aware that China has faced a lot of challenges. Also, Chinese companies face a lot of challenges overseas because previously China only worked in low-end manufacturing, but now they want to improve that. They want to do more in high tech, in chips, in AI, in 5G. So investing in those core technologies will help China in long term. Also, they want to talk about global and domestic market. This need to balance between the growth of domestic market and also need to work with international partners to grow the economy. The third part is the industrial development. How do we develop the core industries? What shall we do with those industries with high pollutions? Those are the points that the new 5 years plan needs to address. So in terms of innovations, we can see at some point, the first point will be there's certain topics they want to cover. For example, AI, 5G, semiconductors, biotech, and also brain science. Another point I think is very important is China is going to, in the next 5 years, going to spend 3.76 trillion RMB in research and development. That's not just come from the public sector, but also come from the private sector. And they are also going to dedicate 8% of total science budget to fundamental science. This was a lot of Chinese company lacks of in the global market. So I think some implications for our friends in Europe or in US or in India is to work with those Chinese champions on those specific topics, for example, AI. Also work with those innovation platforms, like one of the example I often use is Soyo. It's a Shenzhen Open Innovation Platform. They connect international companies with local innovators. Also, we want to talk about the double development dynamics. You might also see this before. This basically talk about how do China use their huge domestic market to pull the domestic demand and also the domestic supply together. And also use the domestic value chain to integrate with international value chain. China's solution to deglobalization is not to shut down itself, but to integrate. And this is how. They want to do two things. On one side, they want to keep the market open with the trade, with the Belt and Road initiatives, with RECP. They also want to collaborate. collaborate with the they want to collaborate with the market champions, global market champions in manufacturing and also service sector. Also, they want to reduce tariff, lower entry barriers to attract more inbound FDI. Also, they are going to do internal reform, domestic reforms in manufacturing. China has established manufacturing 2025, basically upgrade existing manufacturing to more smart manufacturing, use more IoT technologies. Also, they're going to upgrade their consumption market in lower tier cities and focus on brand and technology rather than price. So what can international companies do? Capital, human resources, technology, product, and service. They can work with a Chinese company on all those aspects to help to integrate with the Chinese market, as well as let the Chinese company to integrate with your market and your product and your service and your people. So in terms of upgrading that their industries, there's 3 types of industries indicated in this 5 years plan. One is advanced manufacturing, like robotics, CNC, machine tools, healthcare. For those, Chinese government want to promote more, invest more in R&D, and allow companies to develop their own niches in global market. For traditional industry like petrochemical, iron, steel, for those, Chinese companies, Chinese governments, they just want to relocate because, like during the 60s and 70s, there are a lot of coastal East Coast cities who want to promote those industries. So they build up their furnaces, they build up their production capacity in the East Coast, but now they found out this industry is too polluted, consume too much energy. So they want to reduce their capacity and move their inland or upgrade those. For light industries, like textile and also other electronic products, they want to promote high quality products. They want to build their own brand. China has been done very well. It has produced a large proportion of the global demand, but China has not yet have a very strong brand yet. So in the next 5 years, they want to do it like promote a really Chinese brand. So they want to do it from made in China to made for China, and they want to promote a better international image in terms of quality, in terms of brands. Another keyword from this 5 years plan is the new infrastructure. You guys may already know China has done very well with the infrastructure, building roads, building railways. But in the next 5 years, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be AI, 5G, high-speed railways, industrial internet. All of those are the key to build up a better industry. And China, each provinces, they have their own niches. For example, from Beijing and Shanghai, they have a lot of talents. So they build up their semiconductor industry, they build up the AI industry. But what I found a very surprised or not surprised is for provinces like Guizhou in western part of China, not very rich province, what they do is they will be the cloud computing center of China. Why this happened is because in Guizhou, if you guys been there, it's like they have a lot of land and they have a lot of rivers, so they can get very cheap energies. And also the weather is better, so the cooling is for them is much cheaper. So Apple already established their cloud computing center there. Alibaba is established there. Also, Baidu have their also cloud computing center there. So I think in order for one of the implications for our friends in US or in India, I think it's important that we find a niche, find a specific industry, so we can target a specific region and work with those Chinese market champions there. So what are the opportunities? In terms of innovation, I think I really agree with Dr. Ghosh's point that we really need to build a relation-based partnership rather than transactional based. It's really important that we can focus on the key development sectors. For example, AI and 5G. I think this is US company is very strong at that. But we also need to be aware that geopolitical tension between China and US may have some negative impact. In terms of new infrastructure, it's the core of new infrastructure is to upgrade traditional industries. So it's really important that companies can help the process. In terms of double development dynamics, I think it's really important to find opportunities in domestic consumptions. Also, fundings and also human capital advisory service is really important for the Chinese companies to upgrading the domestic and also international value chain. Because previously they were in the low end of the value chain. They only do the manufacturing. They don't really do R&D or do marketing. So I think it's really important to work with the international partners on those topics. And today, we're honored to have Mr. Du from Haier. They are market champion in China, also in the world. And they start as a whiteware manufacturer, but now they fully embrace the digital revolution, and then now they are market champion in IoT technologies. And he's going to share with us his perspective and also experience on innovation. Here let's welcome Mr. Du.